Noel. Welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey. And tonight we're back here in Canada. We are actually on Vancouver Island, and we are going to visit the distillery that I raised my family very close to this distillery, within walking distance of this distillery. And I actually worked with one of the original partners, Jay Odlison, who partnered up with, of course, Patrick Evans that had purchased the land. And Andrew Curry was from Arran Distillery over in the Isle of Arran in Scotland. And I remember, Jay was our accountant up at Mount Washington, and also he was part of our development team. And I can remember when Jay was leaving Mount Washington Resort there. I remember he was pretty excited about this new opportunity, working for this distillery. And I remember briefly talking to him about it, and it was interesting, but I sort of lost focus on that distillery, and I'd heard I think I ran into Jay a few times since then, but. It's one of those things. You grow up in an area. I actually worked at the UBC farm the odd time with their lead hand, just helping out, doing odd jobs because I was commercial fisherman back then, and it's unusual that you would kind of lose focus of a distillery and turn your focus to places like Glen Breton back in Nova Scotia, and then over to Scotland, and forget about where your roots are. But I did try their whiskeys. My family actually toured it. I have never done an official tour of it, but my family has several times. And my relatives came down from back east. They toured it. And I've sampled their whiskeys. And I even sampled their vodkas and their gins. And I always was quite critical. Was not overly impressed with them. But I got a chance from a gift. One of their single malts was given to me as a gift, and classic single malt, and I was actually very impressed with it. And then I got a chance to pick up, a few other bottles and their sample pack as well. So I've tried the Montfort, the Ripple Rock, the Smoke Point. I got the 10, and I'll be honest with you. Every one of them has been pretty decent. And tonight, I'm going to show you something that tells us how we're all getting old. Because for them to issue a 12-year-old whiskey tells me, my golly, how old am I now? Because it doesn't seem that long ago that they got started. But yeah, here's a 12-year-old. And when I look at the new Scottish distilleries, a lot of them are still waiting. I just did Wolfburn, and it's a 10. I'm waiting patiently. I was one of the first I had the opportunity to do of the newer distilleries in Scotland. So, and we know Glen Breton has a 14 that I reviewed, and pretty impressive whiskey. But out here, out west on Vancouver Island, 12 years. So, and I really have to thank them for saving me a bottle so that I can give you this review. So, without any further ado, let's get at this, and I'll stop my babbling. So we're going to open this up. You know the drill. And natural color. I'll let you look at the bottle, of course, the box. I would say a dark amber color, and definitely it's got some of the wood in it. And I am not aware of how it was finished, if there is any sherry cask, but they do have Oloroso, as you'll see from the video, my presentation, they do have Oloroso casks. So, but the initial aging is done in their ex-bourbon American oak barrels. So anyways, let's crack this open and we'll pour a glass. Okay, here it goes. Oh, that was a beauty, that one. That's one of the best pops I've had in weeks. So we'll bring the glass up and we'll let you take a look at it. So you know how the drill goes. We've got a 12-year-old bottle we've just opened up, and we're looking at probably 15-20 minutes. We'll let it sit, and in the meantime we'll show you a short video on Shelter Point Distillery, and then we'll get back and we're going to review this guy. So enjoy the video.
The history begins long before the distillery, when in 1962 a New York philanthropist, Barrett Montfort, donated 1,750 acres to the University of British Columbia for agricultural research. In 2005, UBC sold these holdings to a local farmer, Patrick Evans, under the condition that the hatchery on the property would keep operating. In 2012, Evans sold the land next to the Oyster River to 5 parties who together developed a park to protect the fish and wildlife in and around the river. Patrick Evans had started the distillery in 2008 on the old UBC farm site in a partnership involving an accountant, Jay Odleson, and Andrew Curry from Scotland's Arran Distillery. Eventually, the partnership was dissolved, and Evans took control with the help of his longtime farmer friend James Marinas that had been a key part of the building of the distillery. Mike Nicholson, the ex-Lagavulin master distiller with 36 years in the whiskey industry, was brought out of retirement to help get the stills going, as well as pass on some valuable whiskey-making knowledge. Shelter Point Distillery has a stainless steel 1-ton mash tun with 5 stainless steel washback fermenters. They have a 5,000-liter onion-shaped wash still that produces an approximate 20% ABV low wine that feeds into the 4,000-liter spirit still that produces a 67 to 73% ABV new spirit. The casks are filled at 67% ABV. Shelter Point matures their spirit in American oak bourbon barrels, Oloroso and Pedro Menace casks, Lafroig quarter casks, as well as a variety of other wine casks. Shelter Point is a craft distillery and uses a lot of the local grown two-row barley. It produces around 130,000 litres of spirit each year, which is small in comparison to the average Scottish distillery. They still feel that small batch production gives them a higher quality product. In January 2022, the family-owned Vancouver-based Nelson Investments assumed majority control of the distillery, with Patrick Evans retaining full ownership of the farm. The new manager, Stephen Goodridge, has been in the spirit beverage business for over 3 decades and has founded numerous beverage companies, including Goodridge and Williams Distilling. Shelter Point has been creative in using the local history on their whiskey labels, like Ripple Rock in memory of the Ripple Rock explosion in 1958. Shelter Point is on the east coast of Vancouver Island, 1.5 hours or 137 kilometers north of Nanaimo via Highway 19.
Well, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video there on Shelter Point Distillery and some history. And we are going to now get right into the nose of their first 12-year-old presentation. The nose. Very rich. Lots of toffee, caramel, some plums, maybe even raisins. But I am getting, I'm getting lots of spice. I'm going to say Christmas pudding spices. Leather, some leather notes. It's rich. It's a very rich nose. This is definitely quite unique. It is different than the 10. The palate. So, I'm going to stick with the Christmas pudding spices. Maybe some apple strudel, spicy apple strudel, or apple crisp even. I'm getting cereal notes, some pencil shavings, but kind of sweet pencil shavings, if there is such a thing. The custard, lemon, lime custard, meringue, lemon meringue pie. Back to the oak, getting the oak. This is rich. It's got definitely some tobacco coming on now. Tobacco and I'm going to stay with the coffee. The chocolate's coming in. Lots of layers with this. We're going to get right into the development and the finish. Solange. Mocha and the wood. Good coating on my mouth. I'm getting some umami notes and the licorice, black and red. And more oak. So this is the first real hit of oak I've had in all their whiskeys, and it's there, but not overly astringent. Definitely a longer finish than any of their other whiskeys. Pretty impressed with this. It's definitely a step up. They have their own signature taste, and even with their different presentations. And this is kind of stepping a different direction. So I'm not sure about the finishing. It could have something to do with the finishing. Certainly the age is a player. But I am going to have to add water. Okay, the nose with water. So I'm getting the spices, and now we're getting a little bit of, slight bit of apple and pear stuff going on. Maybe some vanilla mixed in with that. Some flowery notes coming out here, almost like a cologne. And it doesn't seem to have hurt the nose, the water. There's some body to this. Okay, the palate with water. Solange. Sweet wood now. Spices haven't left. Licorice is more prominent. Getting a little bit more of the black now. And cinnamon, ginger. I'm going to say more orange chocolate. And that coating's still in my mouth, even with water. They've come a long ways. This 12-year-old is their strongest expression, and I'm actually really impressed with it. It's one that I'm going to have to go back. I'm definitely going to be having some of my family and some friends in that giving me their feedback, and we might even do a review with them. But overall, this guy's an 85 to 86. Certainly one of their best whiskeys that they've produced. You know, at 45%, or is it 46? I think it's 46% non-chill filtered, natural color. They're doing everything right, and there's lots of body to this whiskey. That's one of the first things I noticed, I mean, I still have a coating on my mouth. It's a sipper, I'm going to say, and it is definitely one I am highly recommending if you can get a bottle. So on that note, I'd like to salute Shelter Point for what they've done. They've become a big player in this country in the single malt business. They're right up there with Glen Breton, and I think they've made a statement with their recognition with the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. What more can they do? They won a few international awards. Just keep doing what you're doing, and I'll keep buying your bottles of whiskey. So on that note, I'll finish off on a recommendation, and I'm going to ask you to drink wisely, drink intelligently, and do not drink and drive. And until the next time, so much.